I didn't really know that much about this film going in. I hadn't seen any of the advertisements aside from the poster. As such, I wasn't and really still not exactly sure what to think about this film. The music's okay, but the film seems to suffer from the same problem that Blues Brothers 2000 suffers from, where the story is taking a backseat to the music. The soundtrack itself is pretty good, and Meryl Streep has a good voice for rock music, but the story itself is just all over the place. There wasn't a clear tone set for the story, as you have it start out light and fun, only to be blindsided by heavy family drama that takes up a good 20 minutes or so. Only to then be followed by a sweet but clunky message about second chances. There are shades of a good story here, but the story beats aren't paced out properly. It's almost like the editor was working off of the Cliff's Notes version of the screenplay rather than the actual screenplay itself. More than likely, the editor was probably having to work with a bunch of footage that had a lot of botched takes and put together what he could. The reason I say this is because of how weird the pacing is, with moments that take longer than they need to, as well as having other moments that actually seem a little bit more vital to the story being oddly cut short. This would explain the 3 ending fake-outs the film gives us in the form of 3 song numbers, 2 of them taking place before the actual end credits. The first one actually has some build-up as part of the story, but then they went overboard with the second number, which just padded things out, and this film is short enough. They didn't need this much padding. As for any technical aspects that stood out, the music was pretty good, almost like that was the only reason they wanted to make this movie. Everything else just seemed almost lazy, as there didn't really seem to be much thought put into the cinematography, art direction, or even the costume design. They tried to make some things iconic, but it didn't really work. Overall, this feels like one of those indie films that a film student or just a new indie filmmaker turns out because they're just so excited to finally be making a movie professionally, to the point where they kind of lose sight of what kind of story they were trying to tell. The acting was good, but not too memorable. The cinematography and art design was kind of bland, and the story, while having good ideas, needed some better execution. The only redeeming thing here is the music, but I would recommend just getting the soundtrack instead of paying to see this film, as it's not really worth the really short runtime. All of that said, Ricki and the Flash gets a 3.5 out of 5. So that's it for this episode of Romney's Reviews. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time.